Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of our videos, and this time we are going to be looking at some Mythic dungeons. We've done all the raid bosses, so now it's time to look at the dungeons. Ideally the aim of this is to show you all the dungeons in a 10 plus. We're not like super high skilled level players that are like linking their keys and showing their keys at like plus 20 or whatever, but this is just a simple introductory guide for people to get into Mythic dungeons. But I think 10 is a good point to show you because then it shows you all the affixes. But yeah, so this is a Halls of Atonement. It's an 11 actually, not a 10, but hey, who cares? It's only one level higher. The affixes we had on this key were Tyrannical. That is Bursting and Explosive. And Prideful, obviously, which happens at 10 plus. So for those of you who are new to Mythic Plus, Tyrannical, it's either going to be every week. It's either Tyrannical or Fortified. Basically, Fortified increases the health and the damage of the trash, and Tyrannical, which is this week, increases the damage and the health of the bosses. Bursting is every time a mob dies, it leaves a debuff on the group, and the more mobs that die, you see it on the side there, building up. Got 2 stacks. Obviously, the more mobs die, the more damage it does. Explosive is just these annoying little orbs that pop out. You just need to slap them and they die pretty easily. And Prideful, I'll show you when we get to it. So what we do here on Halls of Atonement, we go to the right hand side first. We've already killed the first pack whilst I was talking shite. And now we're just going to pick up all of the mobs here. There's us blowing down the explosives. I am a Venfear, so I managed to get the Stoneborn giant on the side of the room. So I've taken him and he's with us now. Apart from that, you've just got these obliterator mobs that just need to be interrupted. These little groundkeeper don't really do much, to be honest. They're just annoying. Just gather them all up, try and stun them all together and just kill them down with everything else. Obviously, the bigger the pool, the more of the orbs you'll have, but we was able to handle that quite well. And then we've got the Houndmaster here, which is one of the most important mobs in the whole dungeon. There's me throwing my glaive to put it together. So the Houndmaster has his 2 Gargon dogs. That hurt. They do a stacking like debuff on the tank. But if the Houndmaster ever gets his little beasts cast off, they will grow massive and do like, I don't know what it is exactly, but don't stick around to find out. It's pretty much like double damage. They get massive. They can be soothed. So you can either CC the Houndmaster to get rid of that, or you can just nuke the Houndmaster down, which we decided to do there, seeing as it's not a fortified week. The trash dies pretty quickly. So yeah, that's them dead. Prideful, we need to start paying attention now because that comes at every 20, 40, 60, 80 and 100%. So we're on 18% trash here. You can see that add-on on the side. And when we reach 20%, the big Prideful mob will come. So we've just got 2 obliterators here which just need to be interrupted so they move. If you can never get a mob towards you, if it's just standing there casting, being a prick, if you just cast an interrupt on it, it will then just move to the tank. So that's what we're playing there. We had the Druid beam down as well. Let's get these down. Kill that explosive orb. And when this dies, we'll have Prideful. So Prideful was this big red mofo here. Comes out. He does a pulse. And these, like, around me now, you see these 4 red like bolts. Every time he puts that on a player, it increases the damage he does. So he's on 7 stacks, now he's on 8 stacks every time he does that pulse. With those red orb things that are firing out of me, you just need to make sure they shoot out without hitting anyone of your team. So they're going to shoot out in front, back, left and right. So just make sure you're lined up so you're not hitting the rest of your party. When the Prideful dies, you get that minute buff you see on the side of the screen, which I think is a 30% damage increase for a minute, which is very handy. So now we can just destroy this trash. For Halls of Atonement, for the first boss to spawn, you need to kill 3 of these shards. So we've got one here, who just has a pulse and he does that Sinquake ability. When he does that, there's like yellow patches on the floor you just need to run away from. So we've killed him and now we go back the way we came and we're going to get the second add thing. And then a bit further down there's the third one when all 3 are dead. So you've got that anima bar at the top. When it reaches 100, that will spawn the first boss. So here we've still got the buff. What do? We just pull these two at the beginning. We don't risk going in for the whole lot, which you can do. Probably with that buff on a non-fortified week, but you have a lot of time in this dungeon if you just play it safe. You don't need to go crazy. Like I say, this is just like a beginner's guide. When you get to like a 15, you might need to go a little bit more crazy, but we'll worry about that when it gets to it. This collector here, just make sure you interrupt its collect sins ability. It's like a channel, so you have a lot of time to interrupt it. Just make sure you do. And the thrash, which is just like a pulsing bit of damage. And then he will probably do his sin quake ability, which is now. And then just avoid those dirt patches on the floor. And that's it for these mobs. When we go down, my Metamorphosis is just coming off cooldown. So we're going to pull all this trash as well. The idea, if you're working out trash, what you need to do, basically the rule is this: you need to be at 80% trash by the time you've killed the second boss. Because when you go through that door afterwards, everything else adds up to 100%. So be on 80 before you kill the second boss. That's the rule for this dungeon. So we kill these off. And we're on 37%, so we're just going to pull these two. And then that should spawn our Prideful mob. See my add-on saying we've only got 2.6% left. Then if you look at the bottom right and hover over it, it actually tells you the percentage of the mobs. That mob decided to go for a little fly. But he's down now. Make sure we interrupt it. Oh, we got some friends here. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. So there's me CCing the Houndmaster because we won't get down there in time to kill it. And if it gets its little beasts out, then it's probably going to be very painful for the tank, so I just decided to CC it. I'm saving my Metamorphosis. Probably for the pack downstairs once I've got the Prideful buff. So if you do get Prideful with the rest of the mobs, just make sure you cleave it all down. The more the Prideful's up, the more it's going to hurt. So yeah, you just want to make sure that you're cleaving it down as much as possible, or focusing on and cleaving everything else down. And we've still got the Houndmaster who's downstairs. I can't remember if we re-CC'd it, or ideally we want him to come up really, so we can cleave him down with this. And I think he might come up right at the end. You can see my imprison still on it, but I can't see the actual cooldown of it. So there's me with the red orbs, trying to move away from everyone. Perfect. And here comes the little Houndmaster. Just get him dead. He can't buff anything now, so he's just a sad little man on his own. And then we go down these stairs and to the left. And we do this pack. There's a few different routes you can go up. It was a while ago since we did this key, so I'm just trying to remember the route we took, but this is obviously it. I've taken the Stoneborn. AoE stunning everything, because I didn't have an interrupt for all of the shit that was going out. And I use my Eye Beam and Throw Glaive. Eye Beam, Throw Glaive, such a good combo of massive AoE damage. And I've used my Metamorphosis there, which when you use it, it stuns everything. Refreshes your Blade Dance, refreshes your Eye Beam. And then yeah, you can just go in and just nuke. And we choose to avoid that group. We're getting the little dudes and the two here, but we're avoiding the Houndmaster pack with the two dogs. Or you could basically avoid the two packs we just did then at the bottom of the stairs and just do this little hallway across. Either way, it doesn't really matter as long as you reach 80%. By the time you kill the second boss, you're all good. So again, these groundskeepers do jack shit, just smack you about a bit. Then we got the two obliterators who we interrupt just to bring them over to us, so we don't risk pulling everything else. And that's them dead. Just to kill off those explosive orbs. So on 58%, so when we kill these two, we're going to actually get the Prideful buff, which I I don't know. Didn't really work out in our favour. We could have probably hit 60% just as we was pulling the boss, but hey, that's the way it is. Taking out that explosive orb. I had to go out of my way to kill that explosive orb. Ideally, you want like maybe the healers or some range DPS just to tap it. Unless it's obviously next to you in melee, you can just spanner it and it's all good. So we finish off this last shard. See, we're on 66%, so each one is 33% anima, so this will make us 100. And then that spawned the first boss. And we can just kill off this prideful quickly. And then move on to the first boss. So we've been in this dungeon now for about 10 minutes. And we haven't used hero, so I think looking back on it, you could probably get away with doing a big pull at the beginning with hero. Bigger pull than what we did. Yeah, with hero, because then it should be, if it all works out properly, off cooldown back again for the first boss. But that's something else you can think about or look back on. Just killing this pack here. Making sure we kill those orbs as well, and I'm saving my interrupt. See, I saved it for that obliterator at the back, just so we can move this pack slowly backwards, because we don't want to get near that stone ball on the right, because me being Venfear, I'm having that for the boss, because it does a shitload of damage, and it's tyrannical, so I want to kind of take advantage of that. So here we go. That's the stone ball for me. Had a bit of aggro on it at the start, and bursting was kicking off, so it wasn't the best scenario for me, but I've got it. And my metamorphosis is on cooldown, which is a shame because I was a knob and used it earlier, but hey, it will come back up some point in this fight. And just see that stone ball and look at the damage meters there, just how much damage it is pulling out the bag. It only lasts for about 30 seconds, but don't we all? But 30 seconds is good enough, because it absolutely just destroys the bosses. So first boss for melee or for Demon Hunter, it drops those heaving debris on the floor, which is just like shattered glass. Tank just pull it out of those patches. The big red circle going around the boss, if you stand outside of that, you just get chain feared constantly, and it's proper shit, so don't ever be in that situation. And apart from that, it would do these beams which spin round in a direction, and they either just stay in one direction or they change direction. Just be on the lookout for which way the beams are going and just move accordingly. And that's it really. I've popped my metamorphosis now. Boss is on 40%, so there's not much health left. Refresh my sinful brand after my metamorphosis sinful brands run out, because it does apply it if you're Venfear, that is. If you're not Venfear, you won't even get that sinful brand. But the tank, we're moving it out of that position there. We're a bit scuppered there. I run through the beam. It was a bit of a risk, but they hadn't actually spawned at that point because I needed more space. But I've got more space over here, because if I stayed where I was, I'd be getting destroyed by all of that broken glass. That is pretty much the first boss gone. And we're on 71%, so we actually only need 9% before we reach the second boss. But it's like one of the most trickiest parts of a dungeon. Not trash tricky wise, just like where do we run, like the space, like can we sneak through it? We can't even decide what path we're going to pull. We go right, we go left, we go right, and now we've decided to go left because we've killed some of these mobs over here already. I'm going to take these two up. That was a good pushback there because that interrupted the obliterator. Get these dead. We're on 74% basically. So see what I mean? It's not hard for trash. We just need to get through there, up those stairs at the very end to the second boss without accidentally pulling the fucking world. But we meant to pull all these, so I made it like a bit of a panic, but it was planned. I'll use my AoE stun there just because I can, just because it was starting to hurt a little bit. The Reaver does a turn to stone ability, you just need to make sure it's interrupted, otherwise I think it heals back up to full. I'm not 100% sure on that, but or it turns to stone and heals to 4. So there's the cast there. We've got the interrupt on it. On the left, you see I've got my interrupt add-on, which tells me that everyone's interrupts, and you can see the tank's interrupts coming off in 4 seconds, the druid one in 20 seconds. It's on 79%, so somehow we're highlighting over that slasher because that's the only mob we need. And we just need to run up, avoid that knobhead rolling across the side of the room, ignore that pack there, get that one slasher, and get the fuck up the stairs as quick as possible. Because one turns to stone and the other one turns to stone or whatever. You can pull both or you can pull none, it depends. But we waited for one to come up and we managed to pull it without pulling the other one, which is perfect. If you don't, you can do a little less trash before the first boss and then just clear more between the first and the second boss, just to make sure you don't have any mistakes and over cap yourself. This would give us 80%-ish. 82%. That's good enough. And also give us Prideful, which is what we want really, because we want to use it on this tyrannical second boss because it can be very annoying. So my metamorphosis is going to come off in 15 seconds. It's almost like it was planned. I mean, it wasn't planned, but we'll say it was for the sake of a video. Oh, there's those red beams from the Prideful going straight through the melee there, but didn't hit anyone, so we're all good. We're all looking pretty healthy. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go straight in and pull this. With the buff, Metamorphosis coming out, bang, here we go. Time for some big numbers. And when you see a Sinful Brand, when that wears off, I should reapply it again. There you go. Saving my Glaive Tempest, I could use it straight away, but I'm saving it for when all the ads come together. So I'm going to go in, I'll probably interrupt that one to bring them together, AoE stun, which I do, and then just use my Glaive Tempest, and then it kills them all in the same place. So now whoever's crushing them should kill all of them, and that looks perfectly executed, if I do say so myself. So yeah, the boss itself spawns these red patches on the floor, just need to move out of. It spawns ads around the side, which come charging towards your group, but they do stand there and cast. So if you do have like a mass interrupt or any interrupt, make sure you bring them all together so they're all stacked together. Then you can kill them all together. And then when it does this shattering stone leap on me, any dead ads that get hit by it also get permanently destroyed from the fight. If you don't hit them, or the ads aren't dead, they're just going to constantly keep respawning. So see, we've got the ads here, they're all casting. I've done my AoE stun, and it's not really a lot I could have done. But, I mean, those three there are going to die together. And you might be able to clip someone else with the remainder of that circle. Well, there's another one coming in. So where our healer is about to get stumped there, he's going to kill at least 4. And the boss is nearly dead, so... yeah. It's quite hard to group them all together. Obviously, if I was a tank, I'd have my sigil of chains, or... but hey, that's for another day. Got one ad there, which I interrupted, but he's not moving, so bollocks to it. And here come the rest of them. I was about to use my AoE stun, but I thought, nah, fuck, save that. Because we've got a double Houndmaster pack here. Now you can either CC them, or... okay, so we CC'd one. And we saw the explosives there, so I panicked and just got out of there as quick as possible just to break the line of sight on the explosives. We leave that one Houndmaster CC'd, and now the other Houndmaster's in, so now my main focus switches to that because we can't let him get his little beasts cast off. You can't. It's not a normal interrupt; it has to be a stun, or if you don't have a stun, for me as a demon hunter, I can imprison it, but my imprison's already been used. I have no idea what I've already used it on. I probably used it on that mob at the beginning. But there's Lore Beast cast, but it's going to be dead altogether. So it's fine. And now we just have one Houndmaster left, who's going to be able to buff nothing, so just clear him out. Yeah, so Imprison does work for Lore Beast cast. Just stops it for a few seconds. And then we've got the big pack inside, which you can usually pull out to this room, which I would recommend if it was like Sanguine or Quaking. As I'm the only Venfear, I'm going to take this Stoneborn now and use it on this trash. And then when all the trash is dead and my Stoneborn's gone, I'm going to take the other one and take it into the boss. If you do have two Venfear players with you, you can both take one each, which is ideal for like Tyrannical. And then you can just both take them into the boss. Also, another trick, if it's a Raging week, you can wait till the Stoneborns, you can pull them into this pack, wait till they're under 20% health, and then mind control them. Because then they'll be doing the Raging damage as well. But we don't have that this week, so. One mob left. 95%, which is perfectly fine. So here's the second Stoneborn. And then we're going to go straight into the boss with this. And it should just start spanking up the damage. I've got my Metamorphosis on cooldown as well. And we are in. Druid used Convoke. We just popped everything on this boss with the Stoneborn as well. It's just absolutely melting. Refresh my Sinful Brand. Now it's worn off. Let's use Glaive Tempest off cooldown. There's nothing really. That ad that comes out, you can't kill it, I don't think. So just pop everything on this. There's nothing you really need to save it for. Do we need to interrupt all of these casts that are going off though? So I interrupted that bolt. You want to have a kind of interrupt order, but at this level, it doesn't really do that much damage. I think the volley is more important to interrupt that one there than the bolt. And that's two volleys we've let go off now, so can't be that important. But no, it is important, so make sure you do. For the boss itself, you just need to avoid these swirly red patches on the floor. And if you get targeted by the ad, you need to make sure you run behind one of these anima things. You see our healer's hiding behind one now. The ad's going to hit it and it just despawns it. You've only got 4. So it needs to be dead really before it hits the 4th one. The more it's out, I think it just does pulsing damage, so yeah. Yeah, I interrupted a volley. Everything's good in the world. Apart from we're out of anima jets now, so. Boss needs to die before the next ad, which I'm sure it will. It's only on 10% HP. I'll charge into that explosive just to get it dead. And there's the hunting on the tank, but it doesn't matter, it's dead anyway. So now we're into the final room. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can either just go straight for the mini boss at the end and kill him before he does his Dark Communion, or you can kill all of the ads and then kill the mini boss. If the ad at the back gets his Dark Communion cast off, it will heal him with the amount of ads that are left up. So if you've got like 20 ads, it would be 100% health again in like seconds. So yeah, you don't really want him to do Dark Communion when there's ads up because he would just heal to full. So we decided, we made a decision here to kill all of the ads first and then the mini boss. As soon as we ran in and we tagged all of these mobs, we remembered that explosive was a thing. And yeah, explosive spawns off the number of mobs you have. So we pulled about 30 mobs and we had more balls than Magic Mike. They were fucking everywhere, but we just decided to carry on. As long as you're just tab targeting them and everyone's just on them. We waste so much time though doing it this way, but we forgot basically. No other way to put it. We just totally forgot. That's all the trash at the back part done. Now I've just got the front bit. Grouped them all together. I use my Glaive Tempest after I've got my I-beam out, I think. Just get rid of these explosives quickly. All I want to do is my I-beam and Glaive Tempest, but there's so many orbs out. Oh, fuck it, I committed. I'm in. Luckily they're all spawning quite close though. There's one at the back. Panic run too, managed to get it just in time. So he's doing his Dark Communion again. He's healed up to full because there was still, I count about 4 or 5 ads dead. Up rather. Oh no, there's more than that. Shit. because these little lads, but when they there's these neutral ones, but when he does the Dark Communion, they turn into these manifestations. God, this was so much panic. I remember doing this as well, just tabbing onto all of these explosives. Well, you can't tab onto the explosives, but you know what I mean, just targeting all the explosives and just getting them down as quick as possible. I think you can tab to the explosives, actually. I just don't think you can macro into them. Anyway, it was just focus on explosives and then just kill the boss, but yeah, it took far longer than it should do. But anyway, it's dying now, so when it does his Dark Communion, you're going to see in a minute he's going to have no ads around him to heal himself up because we've destroyed them all. Here it goes. Yeah, tough shit, mate. I ain't sucking any life now. This bloke's worth about 7%. So once he's dead, it would give us the 100% we need. Yeah, and it spawn our final Prideful, which we would then take into the last boss, and we have Heroism as well. And my Metamorphosis is off cooldown, so everything is all lined up perfectly for this. Slowly dragging it back, just so we can get straight in with the boss. I don't know why I didn't move from that red one there. That red orb coming towards me. I saw it coming as well. I just stood there like a lemon. But it's all dead. 4 minutes to kill this boss. We've got Prideful, we've got Hero, I've got my Metamorphosis. It's not the most trickiest boss in the world. Metamorphosis down. I'll pop that. Our Druid's obviously convoked because she's just destroying the damage there. And we've popped Hero. I'm getting all my cows now. I should have used my Glaive Tempest a little bit earlier, but hey, don't worry about that. The boss does a few abilities. The main one it's doing now, which is the most important, is called that. I'm not even going to pronounce it, but it's dropped all the shadows in towards him. It does Door of Shadows, and then he sucks all of the statues in, and then he pushes them all out, and then you need a player between the boss and each of the statues because he does this Ritual of Row. And if there's not a player between him and the statue, it would just do a beam towards it, and it would just do massive damage on the group. So make sure you got one player between the boss and every statue on that phase. Apart from that, he would just occasionally just pick up just one random statue, and you can see which way it's going to fly by the way the face of the statue is. So just avoid that. Also does like a red beam towards a player, just sidestep out of that. And it also does like a red patch on the floor, just weave out of that. But this is the main ability, just Ritual of Row, where he just does Door of Shadows, all 4 statues in, pushes him away, a player between the boss and each of the statues. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Like I say, we've done all the boss videos. We're going to be doing all of the dungeon videos, all up around about 10 plus, just so you can see how we do it. Just like I say, just a beginner's guide. We're nothing special. I know, I mean, that's harsh. We are special, but we're not Echo Limit standard. We're just a group of friends just smashing up keys. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.